So, pretty recently I had a special opportunity to see a classic Japanese Godzilla film on the big screen here in Finland. As a pretty big Godzilla fan, I could not pass that opportunity. It was an actual finished film print from 1972 with all the scratches, noise and skipping that had come along as the years went by. It didn't ruin anything though, it was part of the fun. Also, finally, seeing a Godzilla film that was shown in our country back in the day the way it was presented to our most likely confused audiences many years ago was a dream come true. The movie was Hirviöt uhkaavat maailmaa. Monsters are threatening the world. That's not a bad title, trust me, we've had far worse. So let's dive into the review of Destroy All Monsters international version. We got the international English dub here, and before that I saw the UK VHS that also had the same version. I just wanted to make that clear. I'll definitely check out the Japanese and American versions in the future. Okay, let's start. It is the future. The year is 1999. Apparently, in the Japanese version, the year isn't specified. All the Earth's monsters have been captured and now live on an island called Monsterland. Each monster has their own area to live in with all the resources they need. Basically, everybody is having a good time as long as the control center where humans control and study the monsters is working. Well, obviously, something goes wrong, horribly wrong, and the monsters escape, and that leads to destruction scenes. Yay! Baragon takes Paris. Wait, that's Gorsaurus. Rodan takes Moscow. Oh, sorry, did I say Rodan? I mean to say Rodan, as it's written in the Finnish subtitles. Mothra attacks Beijing, Manta London, and the main guy Godzilla stomps New York. The humans start investigating and soon find out that aliens are controlling the monsters now. They are even controlling some humans. It's up to our main characters to save the day from giant monsters and aliens. Destroy All Monsters came out in 1968 and was the 9th movie in the series. It was supposed to be the last Godzilla film, but we all know how that went. Ranking as one of the biggest productions of Toho Studios at that point, the film had a lot going for. Toho had been building its so-called cinematic universe with its sci-fi films for well over a decade now, and it was the time to unleash the thing they had been cooking for so long. Total of 11 monsters from previous movies made an appearance in this one. With the dream team of director Inoshiro Honda. Wait, what? Isn't it Ishiro Honda? I think he was Inoshiro in the American version of Rodan. Alright, where was I? So, with the dream team of director Ishiro Honda, producer Tomoyuki Tanaka, special effects director Eiji Tsuburaya, and composer Akira Ifukube, the expectations were high. It's gonna be awesome, right? The grand finale. Well, I've always considered this one of the last of the golden age of Japanese monster movies or sci-fi films in general. In the 70s, cinema was suffering in Japan because the increasing popularity of television. Poor box office meant studios had to make cheaper movies, and a production like Destroy All Monsters would have been totally out of the question in the 70s. This was the last time Eiji Tsuburaya was responsible for the special effects, and the decrease in quality was noticeable after his death in 1970. In Destroy All Monsters, everything is still fine. Mostly. From a technical standpoint, it's one of the best in the original series. To think how much more work this one required, since instead of 2 or 3 monsters, there were now triple the amount of monsters to work with. They did an excellent job. I like how the future isn't over-the-top crazy, no floating cars or any of that shit. There's a scene early in the film where people are making a video phone call. That's obviously like Skype. Much more believable. Something that people probably thought would be a thing at the end of 20th century. Well, Skype wasn't really a thing at the end of 20th century, but it sure is now. But we still don't have floating cars. I like how the designers didn't go too far, tried to be realistic. This thing I don't understand though. A subway that's above the ground. Haruo Nakajima, rest in peace, plays Godzilla. To me, he'll always be the best. The miniature work and detailed backgrounds are very impressive. I've seen far worse in later movies. The building crumble and blow up, revealing very detailed work. There's this one shot from bird perspective with all the miniature military vehicles that I've always found surprisingly realistic, and a shot like that wouldn't look bad in a slightly newer film. The monster suits and puppetry is some of the best in the original series, even though there are some weird screw-ups in the mix. I said earlier that Baragon attacked Paris. Well, it's actually Gorosaurus's head we see popping up from the ground. And Gorosaurus obviously can't dig, so were they trying to pass him off as Baragon since the suit of Baragon wasn't in very good condition? That is just weird, and isn't it kinda lazy? Why didn't they just build another Baragon head? Not that much to complain about still. The monster action is excellent, with good camera work. Angulus makes a comeback, and the suit looks so good. I have to say one thing about Rodan. He's one of my favorites, but I just hate the 60s suit. He looks like a dork. The obvious highlight is the final battle, with most of the monsters joining the fight. Sound effects are the regular stuff, and I was actually impressed the amount of bass there was in the track. Okay, I guess I've talked enough about the technical side of things, but that's just the most interesting aspect to me in these movies. So, what about the story and characters? Well, this is where the shit hits the fan. There's one word to describe all of this. Boring. I've seen this film several times and I still don't care about the story or characters. It's such a bummer because we got some pretty familiar faces here that I know have done a far better job in previous movies. They've been very entertaining in the past, but here I just hope we could cut back to the monster parts as quickly as possible. These characters do what they need to do, what the story requires, but they do nothing else. You know what I mean. They don't give us anything to chew on. Very one-dimensional. These two characters I instantly liked, but they're in it for like a minute or two. The movie should have been about them. This was all partially Honda's fault because he was one of the guys who wrote the story. Well, at least he set this shot up pretty nicely. This is almost metaphorical. Talking heads trapped inside of story bubbles, not being able to let their true personalities free. Oh my god, what the hell am I talking about? There's one exciting scene when the guys are in space and try to destroy this alien device that did something that I forgot because I wasn't paying attention. I was so bored. And I think the scene was exciting because Akira Ifukube's music was so good. Ah yes, I was able to get myself out of the boring topic. The music of Ifukube is one of the essential parts of these movies. For the original Godzilla movie and some of the sequels. He didn't score the previous two Godzillas before this, but he fortunately came back to this one, and isn't it glorious? Starting from the opening credits that just ooze epicness and set the tone pretty well. This isn't nearly as lighthearted as, let's say, the previous three movies. Okay, what's my final verdict? It's perfectly acceptable ending for the series. I see what they were trying to do and partially got there, but there's just too much time when nothing interesting is happening. You start to lose your audience. I know it was hard and expensive to shoot the monster scenes. I get it, but you can make it all work to make the more talkative parts interesting. It has been done before, but here they failed. Like I said before, when there's monsters on the screen, it's entertaining and well made. The look of the film, how it looks more expensive than it actually is, in color and scope. The technical side is, like I said, mostly top notch. This could have turned out far worse, but with the dream team behind it, one last time, we got perfectly serviceable entertainment that doesn't try anything weird. They played it safe. A good Godzilla sequel. 3 out of 5. No niin, ja tähän lopuksi pientä infoa ihan suomeksi. Tosiaan kävin tuon Hirviöt uhkaavat maailmaa katsomassa ihan elokuvateatterissa ensimmäisen Pokemon-elokuvan kanssa tuossa pari viikkoa takaperin. Paikkana oli Helsingin vanha elokuvateatteri Orion. Mä oon käynyt siellä aiemminkin ja tuun käymään jatkossakin, varsinkin kun vielä tämän vuoden puolella tulee parikin erittäin kiinnostavaa elokuvaa sinne. Nimittäin alkuperäinen King Kong ja 4K-restauroitu ensimmäinen Tuntematon sotilas. Mä laitan linkkiä tuonne alaskuvaukseen KAVin, eli Kansallisen audiovisuaalisen instituutin sivuille, mikä tätä hommaa pyörittää. Liput sieltä saa ostettua samalla 6,50 yleensä, joten ei ole kallista. Vanhoja sekä myös uudempia elokuvia siellä näytetään teeman mukaan. Vanhat elokuvat yleensä ihan suomi-versiona ja filmiltä, jos suinkin vain mahdollista. Totta kai myös KAVin restauroimat suomileffat näytetään ennen kuin julkaistaan DVD:llä tai Blu-raylla. Joten käykääpähän katsastamassa KAVin sivut, löytyisikö sieltä joitain kiinnostavia näytöksiä. Tuotan tätä toimintaa. Eipä muuta. Kuulemisiin.